It's so interesting, when you were answering that question, I sort of popped into my head this sense of the division of labor that you discussed before. And dare I speculate with an analog, it seems like um, the way you were discussing sort of this necessity of a medium of exchange and payment maps on kind of interestingly onto this sort of necessity for an international legal sort of medium of dialogue, and creation. It's when it comes to these treaties and these things, given the sort of fractal nature of the division of interest and labor needed to go into decarbonization. And I'm not sure if that's much of a question, is perhaps building onto this sort of matrix of analogies and metaphors and that you're spelling out in the book.
Well, one thing it might lead us to, your comment, is the notion of MMT's notion of the job guarantee. The government therefore the money maker as the employer of last resort, such that you have full employment. A job guarantee means full employment. It kills wage pressure, and whatever government decided to be the minimum income that they gave to the entry worker would become immediately the floor. And if that were a living wage, then, well, you would be strangely close to what one might think a communist economy might run like. In other words, it would not be the market establishing the wage levels, but in fact the social compact of government itself, saying this is how much people get paid as a minimum and no lower. And it would need to be adequacy. And at that point, my notion in terms of wage parity is keep it simple, 1 to 10. Recall that it was 1 to 3 in the beginning days of Chinese communism, and then quickly changed to 1 to 9. And in the US Navy, it's 1 to 8. So we're talking the poorest to the richest in an income system. 1 to 10 is easy to keep in mind. And if 1 is adequacy, as I say in my novel, then 10 times adequacy is luxury beyond need, but it's easy number to keep, and it keeps ambitious people from going nuts. So 1 to 10, and say, just very roughly, for the sake of the numbers, that when you're doing a money show, you might as well say $100,000 a year is the floor. As it's so simple, and indeed, a lot of us are living on $100,000 or a little bit less or a little bit more. It's a kind of a middle class. It's actually kind of high, but say it's what you need if you are going to really have security. Call that adequacy. Then you got $1 million. You can't make more than $1 million a year. And why would you need to or want to? The 1 to 10 ratio sets a kind of a boundary. And I explored these ideas all the way back to Pacific Edge, which I wrote in 1990. And there, I think it was $10,000 to $100,000. So it's like a 10 times inflation rate in 30 years. That's probably pretty accurate. In any case, you see where I'm going with this. The idea that the division of labor is such that many of our essential workers, and we found out they were essential in the pandemic, are getting paid shit, not enough to live on. It's what Graeber called bullshit jobs. Well, this is disgraceful, and it's an immediate sign that the society is malformed and has a touch of evil. What I like about MMT is it doesn't just insist that we can make more money and then the printer goes burr and you solve all problems. The job guarantee is a double pillar in MMT, as I understand it.
Absolutely.
It's just as important as the other parts, and that's what makes it, to me, a game changer, something to back with enthusiasm. It's no longer monetary theory; it's political economy. And the fact that it was capitalized in the textbook that I read, the initials used so commonly, it was just JG. What's this JG? Oh, job guarantee. Well, it's great to see it.